What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Beyonce's 8th album, Cowboy Carter. This is Act 2, technically. Beyonce's follow-up to Renaissance, her last album, Act 1 from 2022. Of course, Renaissance, an absolutely spectacular record, my number one album of 2022. Album that completely blew me away as this love letter to club music and club culture. And because it's Beyonce, because she's so great, it's done with such a at such a high level, such deep respect, deep knowledge. There's so much to glean and take away from an album like that, which I found eminently revisitable. Beyonce kind of surprised me with the announcement of Cowboy Carter as Beyonce's ostensible country album. I liked Renaissance so much for being dancey and clubby, and I'm not the biggest country guy, so I was like, I kind of wish Act 2 was more like Act 1. But, thinking about this a little bit more, Beyonce is aging like a fine wine, which should come as no surprise. Her 8th album, Cowboy Carter, just shows that Beyonce can flex on us by doing whatever genre she wants, apparently. Renaissance being this love letter to club music, and now Cowboy Carter not just being a country album, but Beyonce bringing country into her next album and also giving us a lot of folk, a lot of Americana. There's so much genre experiment and genre flair. This is a big album. It's a long album. I'd say it's probably too long. There was some stuff you could cut. There's some short songs, some interludes. There's a lot here. The reason there's a lot here is because Beyonce really wanted to make good on the promise of Daddy Lessons back on Lemonade in 2016, a long time ago at this point. And she's done that with, I think, a really impressive album. Once again, the song Bodyguard. God damn, is that a banger. That is Cuff It 2.0. Just calling it right now. That is a smash. Thinking about how this album was announced, it's actually kind of impressive too. You had the dueling lead singles, Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages, and Texas Hold'em goes number 1 on the Billboard country charts, Beyonce being the first black woman to do just that. It also goes number 1 on the Hot 100 as well. Just kind of going through the track list here. Again, it's a long track list. There's a lot of songs here. Ultimately, I think it's a little too long, as I said. There's some stuff you could have cut, but I feel like I'm willing to give Beyonce a bit more of a pass for the bloat here, because this feels like probably her only time doing this genre, so she probably just kind of wanted to get all this out. If this was more pop leaning, more R&B leaning, more traditional Beyonce music, I would probably be more critical at the lack of curation, but I understand where it's coming from with this. Overall, though, I do think that Renaissance is a stronger album, which I don't think is much of a hot take at all. We've kind of swapped out the club Renaissance motif this time for Texas country or country radio Texas. You have some radio spots from Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson, of course, big cosigns in the country space. I think the album starts off very impressively with track 1, American Requiem, just big guitar, tambourine starts hitting. Like, that song really goes. There's a lot of covers on this. You got Blackbird, of course, the Beatles song. You have Jolene, Dolly Parton's famously covered ad nauseum song. Dolly herself had asked Beyonce to cover this song for many years. She does it. It's not just a cover. It's more of a spin, a redo. Of course, lyrics, there's a lot of change here. It feels like a Beyonce joint for sure. 16 Carriages, one of the lead singles. I like that song. I think I like it a little bit more in Texas Hold'em, which is definitely more engaging, with the banjo. But 16 Carriages, to me, I just kind of love the way the drum hits, the claps. I thought it was pretty cool. My Rose, a short song, but catchy. I think the singing is just really lovely from Beyonce on that. I love the quick cadence as well. As I said, Bodyguard is a certified banger. I love the tempo. I just think it's an epic song. The guitar breakdown at the end. I listened to this song like 4 times in a row after I heard it for the first time. Like, just an absolute stunner to me. To me, it's the best song on the album, but there's certainly some other contenders, which again speaks to the strength of this record. Daughter, I like that one. I thought Spaghetti stood out just because you have Beyonce giving you bars. Very aggressive, very stark switch up. Just wondering what Act 3 from Beyonce would be. Wouldn't be opposed to Beyonce's hip-hop album. She dabbled with it with the Carter's album with Jay-Z, of course, but a full-fledged Beyonce hip-hop album, I'd be down. I thought Alligator Tears was pretty solid. Just for Fun, this duet with Willie Jones, really great. I think the choir, the claps, like the call and response elements to that, I think that song is very engaging, very catchy for sure. And then we got perhaps the most high-profile duet here, which would be Two Most Wanted, featuring Miley Cyrus. Miley just has a rasp, as we know, to her vocals. Really fits on a song like this. And her and Beyonce going back and forth, basically going bar for bar. And then when they harmonize, it's epic. And I think this kind of completes the best stretch of the album. Again, it's a long album, so you got to have a favorite section, right? But we have Bodyguard, the Jolene cover, Daughter, Spaghetti, Alligator Tears, Just for Fun, and Two Most Wanted. That is a very strong stretch on this album. Right after that, you have Levi's Jeans, featuring Post Malone. I'm not normally a Post Malone guy, but you understand why he would be on a song like this. And frankly, and he acquits himself just fine on the song. I think it's okay. But frankly, it's a really big look for Post Malone to have Beyonce invite him onto her album. Post, he's can tour just fine, but he has actually had a big hit himself, since Circles. Apologies to the Doja Cat song. That was a hit because of Doja, not Post. So big look for Post there. Yeah, I'd be happy for the guy. At this point, I think is where the album starts to kind of drag a bit, but I thought track 20, Yaya, super upbeat, super funky, a big, breath of fresh air once again as like a stark new sound on this already very vast album. I thought Tyrant with Dolly sounded pretty solid. Amen, good closer. It's an album not just because of its length, but because of its variety. There's a lot of vocal variety from Beyonce, but also inspiration variety, right? There's vast samples. Beyonce, of course, spares no expense with her album budgets, bringing in all kinds of collaborators, both via samples and just the straight up live instrumentation. It's so intricate and detailed, with the full band action you got here. There's just a lot to listen to. Beyonce, I think, just comes across as so comfortable, so in command of what she's up to these days by making these like genre albums. And if you think about the last, 10 years of Beyonce music, more or less, since the self-titled album, into Lemonade, Renaissance, and now Cowboy Carter, she's never been more engaging musically, more interesting than she is right now. It's very impressive. Again, like I said at the beginning, aging like a fine wine. But frankly, I think she's kind of peerless in terms of how she's able to operate at such scale, at such maximalist pop, right? But then she's like, you know what? I'm making the Beyonce country album. I'm not making a country album. I'm making a Beyonce country album. She doesn't compromise anything about her. She just kind of flexes on us, being like, hey, I can do all these genres too. And just because I wasn't welcomed when I performed Daddy Lessons at the CMAs back in 2016 with the Chicks, I don't care. I'll just show you again why you should have been a bit more kind in the first time around. And it's cool that you got some of that chart recognition officially, country, Nashville, Big Tent Nashville. It's very closed off music industry, very wary of outsiders, despite the fact that Beyonce is from the South after all. Nonetheless, it's a triumph. And I mean, again, I'm not a country guy, I don't listen to folk. I don't listen to Americana. Again, it speaks to Beyonce, though. She's able to give you so much more than just the genre trappings, and that's what it means to be a Beyonce album. So yeah, over the moon for this again. I think Renaissance is a lot stronger, but that was more towards my personal taste. But song like Bodyguard, song like Two Most Wanted, major highlights for sure. To me, Bodyguard's the best song I've heard this year thus far through the first quarter. So we'll see if that holds. But please let me know, what did you think about Cowboy Carter? There's a lot to listen to. I'm sure there's a wide range of opinion, wide range of favorite song, etc. But please let me know what you thought of it. And for more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.